Open the meeting. All right, we're starting the meeting of the Cold Spring Zoning Board of Appeals. I'm Eric Worth, the chair. And with me is Marianne Remy at my left and John Martin. We have a quorum, 3 members makes a quorum. First item on the agenda is a hearing for 18 Morris Avenue. So let's open the hearing for this application. The, let me call up my notes here. So the applicant sent out the notices about the hearing to the neighbors and provided mailing receipts, which were complete and correct. Do you have a sign affidavit? We have an affidavit showing that the sign was posted on the property up until the present. The notice appeared in the PCNR in a timely way. And the Cold Spring Planning Board responded that it would have no comment on the application. So having dealt with those preliminaries, let's get a description of the project from Madeline Sanchez.
Yeah,
architect.
I'm Madeline Sanchez, architect for Sean Conway and Luke Hall, who live at 18 Morris Avenue, and I'll present the project on their behalf. So we were referred to you for a 1-story, 50 square foot mudroom addition at the front of the house, which would have a mudroom and bathroom expansion, which requires a variance. Since the workshop, we then determined that the renovation of the garage in replacing the roof would add some height to the existing garage. So that also falls within the variance because we're adding bulk, even though it's only 7 inches that we need to add for the construction. So at the last meeting, it was determined that the garage wouldn't be part of the variance, but now it is. So I'll describe that. I was in touch with Eric about it.
Correct.
Yes. So first, share my screen. Oh, very sensitive. Hold on. So first I'll just locate the project. The house is on the corner of Morris Avenue and Craigside Drive. It's this house here, not the house with the red dot, across from McConville Park. And this is photos of the existing house taken from the corner. And then this is a house photo taken from Morris Avenue. So you can see there's a slope that goes up to the first floor. And then this is a garage, which is basically in the basement level. So 1-car garage. So that's the work that I was mentioning would be included in this application. So this is the neighbor to the north. And this is, you can see there's a very healthy evergreen tree buffer between the neighbor and the house. The neighbor to the south is basically Craigside Drive, and then this is the house that's on the corner. Across the street is McConville Park. And then the area of the proposed work is here. There's basically an open corner that we will fill in. And this photo is taken from the roof of the existing garage. So it's right now acting as a patio terrace. And that's how it will continue to be used. But that will be resurfaced. I'll talk about that later. So this is the area that we're going to be, that will be impacted and filling in. And that's a detail of that. So this is the side view of that area. And then the garage work, you can see that it's in need of repair, so that will all be repaired. And then right now the roof is in need of replacement. It's failing due to water damage. And so right now it's a concrete roof, and we spoke to the contractor about the best way to fix this. And so we're basically removing the concrete roof and adding a roof made of conventional lumber, a frame, wood frame, and then on top of that is the deck, and on top of that would be a new railing. We talked about maybe keeping the same height, but we can't because of the header that's above the garage door. So we can't really remove a course of the concrete block and lower it. And also the ceiling of the garage would be very low. So this is really the best solution that we came up with. So the net gain of height would be about 7 inches. So this is something that wasn't really detailed in the last meeting, but I wanted to call it to your attention.
Will the new roof be uniformly flat?
Yes. And now I'm going to get into another document. Let me share. Hold on. There we go. So the next drawing is the site plan. Oh, you can't see it because I stopped the share. I'm sorry.
Oh.
Back in the day, we used to have boards. It was a lot easier somehow. Hold on. I think I need to start my share again.
Start your share again.
Yeah. Hold on. No, no, Where's the document that I want to share? How do I start the share? Here we go, share screen. There. Right, there's the site plan.
There you go.
So now we want to make it bigger. We figured this out earlier. Full screen. So here's this site plan. So the top of the drawing is north. Here's Morris Avenue, Craigside Drive. The existing house is hatched here. And I'm gonna see if I can make this bigger. I mean, can you see it okay? Is that all right?
Yeah.
We do have.
We also have the
printouts here.
printouts.
Oh, you have the printout. Okay, great.
So we have a double size printout here.
Okay. So this is the open corner that I was referring to earlier, and that's where the proposed 1-story mudroom addition would be. And here you can see the concrete patio, which is the roof of the garage essentially. So we're based,
Is your cursor on that? I'm sorry, I'm having trouble
yes,
getting oriented.
yes. So this is that proposed 1-story addition here. The cursor's on it right now.
Yeah.
I wonder if I can, hold on, I want to try to make this bigger.
Oh, I see where it is on here. The post ones, okay. I see where it is on my paper.
And then
Thank you.
there's a label right to the left of it that says concrete patio with garage underneath, right? So that's the area of work. So the proposed 1-story addition would be 11 feet by 4.5 feet. And we need the variance because we're basically encroaching into the side yard setback. So the required side yard setback is 10 feet. And what's existing is 5.6 feet. The existing house is non-conforming. And you all know what that means, so I don't need to explain it. I was going to explain it to the public, but anyway. So we're basically adding bulk or adding height to what's already non-conforming. So the dotted line that you see across here is where that 10-foot setback is. And the house is already at that line, which is non-conforming. And so we're not gonna align with the existing house, we're setting it back a foot. So it'll be tucked into that corner, but also won't align with the existing facade. In addition, the concrete patio above the garage is non-conforming because the front yard setback is 25 required, and that concrete patio infringes into that. And it also infringes into the side yard setback. So it catches both. So I would like to show why the added bulk in the required yards would both benefit the homeowners, as it would solve some practical issues with the existing house and garage, and minimize any potential negative impact to the neighbors. And now I'll share the drawings. The proposed and the existing drawings. The first drawing, A1, is the demolition plan existing. So there's the existing entry here, which is very tight. And the area of work would be here. So we would remove that closet and utilize the space here. The existing bath is also quite tight, and so we wanted to expand that into the addition. And this area here is the existing roof of the existing garage. So you can see in this drawing that we're not, so we'll be taking out this wall of the existing house. So now we have the existing elevation. This is the north elevation. And so here we will be removing this railing and cutting an opening for that window. And then on the west elevation, here's the existing garage with the existing garage door. We'll be taking out that railing, removing this window. And so that's the area of work for demolition. So for the proposed, we would be expanding the existing entry to create a mudroom. So the new mudroom would be right off the existing entry, sort of alleviating that tight space. And then part of the addition would also have a shower, which is connected to the existing bathroom. So it's an existing bathroom expansion to make that bathroom more accessible. So the next drawing is the elevations. So this is the north elevation, which shows that the addition would have a shed roof, similar to the slope of the existing shed roof dormer on the existing house. And the massing would be in keeping with the existing house. And on the front elevation, you could see that the new line of the soffit would line up with the existing. And then there's the shed roof there. So the height of the existing garage will be increased. You can see here, the old and the new, by 7 inches. And that will also, the railing will go up to 3 feet, which is code. The existing railing right now doesn't meet code. So in terms of the criteria that normally I would like to fulfill for the ZBA. So the first is that the goal of the project cannot be achieved by any other feasible means. So after looking at other options, we concluded that there isn't another desirable option which meets the client's goals that would not require a variance. This is the best location for the mudroom. And it's really not practical to place it anywhere else. And this is the best construction method to replace the garage roof, which necessitates adding the height to the garage. So the second criteria, the project will not produce a negative impact on the neighborhood nor create a significant detriment to the surrounding properties. So the project preserves the character and scale of the house in the neighborhood. We considered what the adjacent neighbors would see, and the significant evergreen buffer to the north minimizes impact to that neighbor. The improvements to the garage will make a visual improvement to the passerby on the street. The third, that the variance is not substantial, so we're not changing the footprint, we're asking for 12 square feet on top of something that's already there. And we tried to minimize it, and adding the 7 inches to the garage roof seemed pretty marginal as well. So the addition will not have an undesirable or negative physical or environmental effect on the neighborhood. So we will have to trim some of the trees to make room for the addition, but we will not take any down. They will all be preserved. It's just some branches that have to be trimmed. And the building coverage remains the same, since we're replacing the same roof square footage of what's already there. And there will be gutters, as there are in the existing house, for stormwater management. So in conclusion, we seek a variance to increase the height of a part of the existing house already located in the required side and front yards. What we propose adds height without impeding upon the openness and unobstructedness of the existing yards. The added bulk in the yards brings benefits to the homeowners that we think outweigh any potential negative effect to the neighbors. The proposed work is designed to have a minimal impact on the house and its surroundings, and to look as if it was always there. Thank you. Sorry for the technical. I'm used to either doing it from home or from the boards. I missed the in between.
That's fine, no problem. Just to, for the record, the provision of the zoning code that's at issue here is 134-19G, which says that a non-conforming building may be enlarged, provided that such action does not increase the height of any part of the building located in a required yard. So we have parts of this building in the side yard and the front yard, and they're going to be increased in height. And so that's where that's the variance that is needed.
So as far as the side yard is concerned, it's just the bulk added following the same
Height, yeah,
footprint. Yeah,
existing footprint, but some height added within the yard, within what should be the yard.
and the front front yard variance is just new further development coming,
Yeah, but
marginally towards the road.
just, well, no, it's not gonna be extending toward the road more. It'll, in the front yard, we're just talking about the roof of the garage being raised 7 inches as part of the reconstruction of the roof.
Oh, yeah, so I see what you're saying, because the little bump out of the structure just over the back end of the garage, that won't come to the facing of the new structure, so there's really no
That does not.
further
extend
approach.
to the front
Yeah.
yard.
So what is the distance on the north side of your house to the neighboring house?
The distance from the north side to the neighboring house, that I don't have on the
Yeah,
survey.
I'm looking, I mean, the other structure looks pretty close. I mean, from looking at I'm not terribly acquainted with how the houses are situated, but
Guess we could look at the photo.
yeah, you can
That
see
would be
from,
great.
New share.
The printouts of the photos here.
yeah, like for instance, area of work. Is that like the neighboring house? there?
No.
There's a photo called Neighbor to the North that gives you a view from the front.
Oh, new shares. I think.
Pull up the.
Are they in the?
But we haven't heard from that neighbor.
Mm.
Although they've been
Yeah,
given.
that's gonna be my next question to Karen. Have there been any comments from the public, Karen?
We have not received any calls, emails, texts, or anyone coming in to make any comments on the project.
So no comments from the public, and I gather there's nobody online except for the applicant.
So here's the neighbor to the north. This photo shows the existing house there. Right, on the right. I'm gonna just get up and point because, right, so here's the existing house. And here's the neighbor to the north. It's just really hard to see
Because of the trees.
because there's trees, right? But
Right.
there's,
So I was looking at this photo where you have area of the work, like a close-up of this.
oh, yeah.
And I was looking, as the
Mhm.
proximity of
Mhm.
the side wall, the southerly side wall of the neighboring house. to the
Yeah.
north.
Right, so there's five, I think from the survey, there's 5.6 feet to the property line, so I don't know if they also have the same, I have no idea.
Yeah, I think if I had to estimate, I would say if you look on this image on the left, you can see kind of a dark pipe through the balustrades of the railing. That's basically where our property line is. I would say that if their house is not equal in distance from the property line, it's maybe another 2 feet or 2.5 feet wider. So they're not, I think Madeline said we're 5.5 feet off the line. They're probably 7 or 8, I would imagine, nothing greater than that.
Right, and that's from the existing house, but we're not going to the edge of the existing house. We're
Yeah, I know.
going in a foot.
No,
So
I've
if you
just,
totaled it up, I don't know, maybe, let's see, 6.6 plus another 8, right, so maybe 14, I don't know.
one of the important things, they really haven't said anything, and you're not increasing, you're increasing the non-conformity in the side yard only because you're going up, but you're not really moving out the footprint at all. But that, to me, is the closer of the impacts in the whole project.
Yes.
And so, and the lot coverage itself is only 18% of what could be 30%. So,
Yeah, that's in the zoning conformance worksheet.
house is overly bulky. This
Yeah.
lot,
Yeah,
it just so happens to be, probably is removed as far away from the access road to the high school as possible,
Right, because it's a corner lot,
Right.
yeah. Yeah, it got shoved into that north corner,
Yeah.
yeah. Mhm.
And it is pre-existing, of course. I mean, it was built prior to the code, the house
Correct.
itself, yeah.
It was built in 1953.
There you go.
And as I understand it, this house, the two to the north of me and the two to the east of me were all built to finance the construction of the high school. The middle school, rather. So I'm sure they were positioned to give as much access up Craigside Drive as possible.
well, I don't think I have any more questions about the other board members. Anything more to ask? And you okay, John?
Oh, yeah, I'm just looking it over a few more times, but I have none. I mean, it's not that complicated
Yeah.
of a project that I think, it obviously benefits the house owner, and I don't see any other way of really getting, same result that they're trying to achieve.
And I believe there are no questions, no comments from the public, no one attending by Zoom, so I might make a motion that we close the public hearing.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Unanimous, aye. Great, so now let's discuss any thoughts we have. I'll start just by saying, I think, just by the nature of the existing structure, this is a very unobtrusive type of change. The fact that the garage is partly sunk into the slope means that adding 7 inches is really, I think there was a drawing here that indicated the height. The garage is just at its highest point, it's just like 36 inches above, something like that, 32 inches above the slope. And so the addition of height is really does not amount to much imposition.
And there doesn't seem to be another way of really doing it since the roof itself is concrete. And from my own experience, they do leak.
You don't
So
want to do another concrete roof.
it's hard to put it off. I mean, it's year after year, you work on them. So anyway, I just don't see another way of changing that. And I think, I mean, the new added, portion to the north side of the house is going to be pretty much buried into the trees anyway. And, I mean, the upgrades to the garage and leading off the street up into the garage area would probably be a benefit, aesthetically.
That was kind of where my thinking was going, is this is really improving that garage area and making better use of that area. So I think it's just using the opportunity of improving the garage to make an improvement to the home, to make the home more livable. Yes.
So I guess we'll go through the criteria.
Yeah, it seems like we're ready to do that. So the number one, the first one we usually start with, whether an undesirable change will be produced in the character of the neighborhood or a detriment to nearby properties will be created by the granting of the area variance. Mary Ann, any thoughts on that?
Overall, no. It's on the side yard, I agree with John, the side yard question is the one that to think about in terms of the impact on the neighbor, but when you see the picture and of course, I guess trees can be cut down, but the tree and there's trees in between, I just would say no, that it does not really make an undesirable impact.
Yeah, I think in general, we are well advised not to treat
Oh.
landscaping as decisive,
Oh,
because it is
It can
temporary.
become cut down.
okay,
And so,
so I'll scratch that part, but even so, that it seems quite minimal.
okay. John?
Well, you would look at it from two ends, and one is from the public looking out at the property, and I think the planned improvements would only, enhance the look of the house. I don't think there'll be any detriment. The only party that could possibly claim a detriment would be the neighbor next door, because the bulk is slightly increased, but it's not substantially increased, but at all. It's trying to fit within the structure, the main structure that exists there. So, I mean, overall, I think there's really no detriment, and the neighbor didn't express any difficulties with it, so.
Yeah, and they definitely got it.
Yeah.
They have their signature if you need the, yeah.
Yeah, as opposed to a detriment, it seems like an improvement.
Okay. In what way is it an improvement?
It's an improvement, photograph. I mean, I think the garage is just gonna, look nicer from the street,
Certainly the fence.
and,
nicer.
the front and the retaining walls, and then I don't know I'm not really seeing the picture from the side, but I mean, I just think aesthetically it's gonna be an improvement.
Yeah, I would basically agree with the other two, minimal, they're technically an undesirable change in the sense of a slightly greater bulk, whether viewed from the street or from the neighbor's side. It's just gonna be a slightly greater presence, a slightly bigger building, but, it's minimal. It really is, um, um, So, number two, whether the benefit sought by the applicant can be achieved by some method feasible for the applicant to pursue other than an area variance. And I take it that the benefit sought here is expansion of bathroom and expansion of the entry area through the addition of a mudroom. So the question is whether that benefit, is any way to achieve that other than through an area variance. And I would start by saying no, without something very contorted and, because the front yard setback is right along the front of the house, anywhere going to the side or to the front, they'd be intruding into the yard. And that leaves only the back, which is not gonna help with the entryway. So I would answer no. John?
I would say no, because they're trying to work within the house itself, the way it's already set up, by just increasing the space in those given areas of the entryway and the bathroom. And I mean, the house only covers 18% of the property, so they could go elsewhere, but then you're reconfiguring the entire first floor. And the fact that what increases in bulk that are being sought here are not substantial whatsoever, and I think that on the balance between the configuration of the interior of the house and where they're trying to make the improvements, you know, economically speaking, it just no other way of doing it.
Mary Ann?
I would agree with that.
Number three, whether the requested variance is substantial. John? I guess we
No.
kind of addressed that already.
No,
Yeah.
no, I don't think it is, both optically and even measure wise.
Diane?
I know.
Yeah, I agree. It's just a few square feet. And then it's only 7 inches of height, so yeah, no. Number four, whether the proposed variance will have an adverse effect or impact on the physical or environmental conditions in the neighborhood or district. Mary Ann?
I can't think of any. Like there's no issue with view, or it's not affecting drainage, right? Those are things we think about. We
Right.
think about views, we think of
Airflow.
airflow, we think
light.
about water and light. I don't see it affecting any of it.
Yeah, for the size of the improvements.
Yeah.
You know, at the specifications you just mentioned, I don't see it impacting the environmental
Mhm.
aspect of the house.
I agree. So, none. Number five, whether the alleged difficulty was self-created. And I would answer yes, it is, since the conditions that necessitate the work were always evident to the owner, to the owner of the house. So yes.
Well, the garage wasn't,
I would say.
The garage is what?
the garage difficulties weren't evident. They became evident over time. So I agree the mudroom is self-created, but the garage is.
Is that with the leaking issue?
Yeah, the water issue. And there's a rotted beam. I mean, the whole thing is, and we had the structural engineer come and have a look at it and assess it, and he said it has to be replaced.
Well, I think, you know, on a visual, you know, there's one aspect of the two that would be more impactful, I would think it's because of the rise of the roof in the garage, you know, as you're looking at it from the street. The other new addition really is gonna blend in with the house, I think, pretty much from the way I see the drawings. So with regards to self-created or not, as to the garage, you maybe look at the two differently, you know. That the garage just needs to be repaired, and it's the only way to do it, unless you're gonna have to just take off that entire first level of the roof of the garage and just rebuild.
So you say garage roof, not self-created.
Yeah, because of, you know, just the nature of what they have there currently, it's just, you know, depreciation over since what, the 50s? 1950s, when, I don't know when the garage went in.
It's original to the house. It's all integrated. I mean, I think part of it is that it's concrete and then slate and then rubber, and it's just impossible to to undo layers of it
It's
without
all layered on, right? I got
totally
a
removing it.
house, I know.
I think just one other thing too about the water mitigation issue, part of the reason that we're even part of the discussion about adding the mudroom and everything else was to move that wall forward, because where that rotten beam is that Madeline was referring to is where the first and second story of the house sit on the garage. It's a 2-car garage that goes all the way back, so there's not a wall. There's not a load-bearing wall there. So by increasing that shed roof and sort of pushing that water line forward, which hopefully we won't have any more water problems, but any that do occur will be on a joist that's not load bearing. So that's kind of part of the geometry of moving that wall forward, is to deal with the water as well, in addition to replacing the entire thing with wood.
Marianne, you have a,
Yeah, I would agree that it's only partially self-created, because of the issues with the garage.
okay. So, all of the factors, weigh in favor of the application. Minimal undesirable change, no feasible alternative, not substantial, no physical or environmental effect. And then on self-creation, mixed vote, but that's, the only thing that could it all go against the application. So, I would suggest a balancing statement that says that, that actually the weight of the balance falls almost entirely on approving the requested variance. So I would make a motion to, that we approve the variance, on the basis of the reasons I just said.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, unanimous.
Yay, thank you.
That's it.
That's it, yep.
Good.
Great, thanks.
Cheers.
Bye, Sean.
Good luck. So, see, I went through the resolutions, you have one?
Mhm.
Everything seemed to be consistent. I know we don't have, Heath here.
Well, maybe, so, yeah,
So we can't really approve
I
it today, but
guess-
we can discuss any kind of changes we may have. That's, you know,
maybe it's best to wait,
okay,
just so people participate.
okay, listen, okay, good.
Yeah,
Good. I did want to suggest just one thing. I think, with Furnace Street. Wing was southeasterly corner, it's southwest.
well, that's fine.
So it's the rear yard where the sliver is.
the corner, that like
Yeah, rear
triangular corner.
yeah, so that would be southwest.
Pretty sure it's, I think I have a copy here.
I do. I mean, just so you can think about it or
Yeah.
look at something,
It's gonna be-
since we're here.
Exactly. John, I do have a copy. Goodbye.
Bye, thank you.
I think I have a copy of the map here. Right. Yeah, this is survey.
Hmm.
So.
There's a few that are more obvious than this, so you can flip through a few items.
Here's the north, so north is that way.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah, that's northeast, right, so this
So
would be
east
south,
is this way,
east would be this way, or east would be this way,
that, would be north, east.
east, and
South.
anything going this way, east.
So this is the corner that sticks in to the yard.
Yeah, this is the corner that's affected, we have an agreement there.
Isn't that the southeasterly side yard? This yard here?
So what you would then consider this to be northeasterly?
This would be, I would call this the northwesterly yard, side yard, if there was one.
You know what I would do? I would say the rear south. If you want to say southeast, the rear southeasterly portion of the building. Because
Okay.
in my mind's eye, I would view this, just for some reason, just looking at, knowing how this road sits to 9D. And 9D would consider either going traveling north or south. This is pretty much parallel. It runs, I understand true north is going up this way. I mean, I'm not gonna fight that at all. But I would tend to think that if north is running this way, anything that comes in this direction is easterly. And southerly would be flowing in this way. But westerly would be going in that way, so it's a southwesterly portion of the building.
Hmm. Okay, well, this is something where we should have Heath weigh in as well, just because.
Yeah.
To get the
Because I would be confused if I read it, but maybe I'm the one who's not seeing it right.
yeah, we'll just look at where that term occurs. Resolution.
Because when I was reading through, I was like, oh, wait, was I looking at the wrong portion of the house?
Yeah.
But it is just that little nook right over there. It's only 7 3/4 inches.
Okay, so yeah, I guess we cannot. The resolution. I mean. We should give them a chance to.
Oh, no, I don't want to talk about it now. I mean, I just wanted to mention it offhand, but I think we do talk about it with him present if we make any change.
How about the minutes? Can we,
Where are they?
so we have 3 sets of minutes, which you should see it print out there somewhere.
Yeah, I've got.
You probably,
If not, I got more.
no.
So I'm wondering
It was on the bottom.
what we can do on this. The first is.
Well, who was present here? We're all four of us, right?
March 12th was all 4.
Right, okay, we can do
So
that.
we can deal with this. April 23rd, also Keith was absent, so we can deal with that. And, all 4 on April 9th, so we can deal with that. So yeah,
Okay. We're ready.
let us start with the first one, which is the oldest one, March 12th.
Okay.
Are we putting both resolutions over? Is that
Yeah, we're gonna,
your next meeting?
Yes, let's wait.
We're looking at March 12th.
Yeah, let's start with March 12th.
with regards to lot coverage out here on the Furnace Street, would increase from 34 to 38. Is that what happened?
No, I was gonna comment on that,
Okay.
because there was a later kind of new information relevant to that. And
Okay.
after the workshop, James pointed out that his porch is located on village property. It's-
Yes, yes,
So,
yes.
this
And
point,
which he purchased? Oh, no.
No, he hasn't
not
purchased it.
yet.
It's just-
Yeah, okay.
historically, it's grandfathered in,
Oh,
it's sitting on village property. So my comment here that he should count the porch is not valid.
Yeah, because it's not on his lot.
Right, it doesn't count against him.
Right.
Against his lot. So
Good,
I was
done.
gonna suggest, well, we can leave this in for the record, but then I was gonna add in brackets something like, the applicant later pointed out that the porch is mostly located on village property.
So it doesn't increase the lot coverage of his
Exactly.
lot.
Only the part on the applicant's property counts in the building area.
Right, perfect.
That's, yeah.
And so the end result of that is the building area does not increase.
That's
There's
right.
no change to it.
Mm. Just out of curiosity, were these sent around beforehand? Because I would have also read it, but I didn't see them.
Yeah,
I missed it then.
Karen emailed these
Oh,
a
I see.
long time ago, actually, the March 12th.
I
We
should.
got a long time ago.
Okay. Do I look it under Karen or do I look it under
It
you?
came,
in the
by
future?
email, it came from Karen. It always comes from Karen.
Okay, fine, got it. Just so that I don't have to waste the time of the board. looking at it. Okay, well,
I'm gonna make a comment
go ahead.
under workshop number 2 for
Mhm.
133 Main Street, and then under board discussion there. I think there's a conflation of two separate issues. There's the lot area, or rather the lot size, it should be called, and then lot coverage, which is the percentage. So that first paragraph where the heading says lot area, that heading should actually say lot coverage, because here we're talking about the percentage. And then we should add a heading after that that says lot size. The paragraph that begins, Newworth concluded that the lot area, that's all about lot size, like just the total square footage of the lot. And, and we've determined that it's not. So what I would suggest is just replacing that paragraph, adding the heading lot size, and replacing the paragraph with something like, Eworth noted that after the owner purchases a strip of the sidewalk from the village, the lot size will still be under the minimum required, but will be greater than it is now, and therefore closer to compliance. Was not clear that a variance was needed for a change that reduces a nonconformity. So this was that issue where we decided, the building inspector said, you need a variance for lot size, and we decided, no, actually, since the lot's getting bigger, we don't, because we're reducing the nonconformity, so it's important to get that exactly right.
Right, no, I remember, yeah,
So
because they just purchased in this case, they purchased it from the village.
Right, the lot was yeah, exactly, unlike the other one. The lot was too small before, and then he bought the strip, so it's now bigger.
Yeah.
Still too small, but it's bigger, so it's, the non-conformity is reduced, and that's
That's
good.
right.
That's a good thing from the point of view of zoning.
Mhm.
So that's why I'm saying we should just say,
But make it clear.
yeah, Eworth noted that after the owner purchases a strip of the sidewalk from the village, the lot size will still be under the minimum, but it will be greater than it is now, and therefore closer to compliance. It's not clear that a variance is needed for a change that reduces a nonconformity. So that's
I get it, yeah,
our decision not to
Mhm.
require variance from
Right.
this point.
right.
Right.
And you just simply say, that's why we're not, requiring a variance on this. You said that specifically.
Yes,
Okay,
so that was all I had on this.
Oh,
all right, well, I don't see any other changes to be that I can spot needed to be made. And they're good minutes, thanks, Karen.
you're welcome.
While you, Mary Ann, anything else on March 12th?
Nope.
Did you ever ask about the parking space?
No,
stuff?
no, I'm not gonna ask, I'm not gonna ask him just for that. I'll wait until something comes up.
Okay, yeah, I mean,
I
but
don't wanna
simply
incur a legal bill just asking that.
yeah, simply the question was, whether you can give a variance from the language
Yeah,
as opposed to
or
the
more
requirement.
broadly, would you agree in this, it's a more broad, I mean, it could be a more broad question of, can a variance change the term, the definitional terms in the code? Like, the way the code defines a certain thing, can we monkey with that?
Yeah, which I doubt.
Because it's because here it's can we change what defines a parking space? If the code says a parking space must have characteristics X, Y, and Z, can we just say, well, X doesn't count in this case?
Yeah, I mean, maybe there might be one example of that or something, but I think on the whole, you can't rewrite the provision.
Okay, that's an
Because,
interesting question.
So you can't grant a variance from one aspect of, like, say, parking, parking requirement. Like, in this case, you were saying it doesn't necessarily need, a direct line of exit in order to be declared a valid parking space.
Right, well, could we, if we wanted to, could we make a variance that says you don't need direct access to the street?
Right,
Which is changing, that's one of the
Yeah.
terms of definition of a parking space, and we would be taking it away and saying you don't need it in this case.
yeah, I just think that gets into
Yeah,
legislative.
it sounds, sounds plausible. It'd be
Yeah.
nice to get it, so at some point.
Because I'm sure it may come up again.
Yeah.
So, yeah, all right, so I move to approve the minutes unless people are not done.
No, I'll second that.
All in favor?
Uh,
Aye.
thanks, Tom.
Unanimous?
For March
Yeah,
12th.
Good job, Carl. Now which one?
All right, next one chronologically is April 9th. Another extensive meeting.
I feel like I'm missing the last page on that.
Just check on you.
Was there a page 5?
Actually, the April 9th.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna give you fresh copies of the April 9th.
What, yeah, so there was just a last page missing, right? Maybe,
There's a page. Six.
Yeah,
okay, so we just ended at 4.
Oh, got it. Okay,
So, yeah,
thank you.
Thanks.
that's a fun one. I think on the March 12th minutes, this page 5 was not correct. That actually belonged to the April 9th, if I'm reading it right.
So we have to reapprove them? No. Just teasing. Hey,
It's just
we put some excess in.
So the March 12th is only 4
It
pages,
sounded all the same.
so.
Well, you know, the funny thing is, I don't think I had a page 5 to my, I didn't have a page 5 to my April 9th.
Yeah, neither did I.
Well, I only had
Well,
two. I only had
I
four.
might have just been this copy that I.
Oh, wait, April
The
9th,
March-
I'm at March,
the March 12th
Yeah,
has the
let me-
extraneous page.
let me see if that's accurate.
Oh,
Talking about parking, I don't know where.
oh, yeah, sort of,
Yes.
it's before page 4.
No, I had page 4 on that.
You got a collector's copy there.
Yeah,
Perfect.
right, yeah, this is the only, yeah, right. Otherwise it'd be
So
like,
that extra page that was in the 12th, just
Yeah,
you know
ignore
what it
that
was?
because it really
You know,
is
that
part of
was-
the
that
night.
was a test.
yeah, it was.
Yeah,
See if we were
well,
paying
Did you
attention.
notice, yeah. Oh, now that's just bad stapling, I guess. Where's the last page?
I don't see any, I don't have any, questions with regards to the April 9th minutes. Especially after receiving the last 2 pages.
I would, on page 2, I would just suggest for consultant, under public hearing 1, since this is a hearing that we ended up not having. So I would
Right.
leave out the
Reference to the public hearing?
the descriptions. No, I would leave, it didn't leave a reference to it, but take out the technical descriptions about the footage and all that. And just go, from James Hartford, owner, president, Village Hall, and then just jump down to the next paragraph and say, the mailing of notices to neighbors was incomplete. So Eworth made a motion to reschedule public hearing. No need to burden people with the data. And then on page 5, here's this sensitive discussion of parking. And the second paragraph doesn't quite capture what I attempted to say, no doubt not very clearly. But what I was trying to say was, Eworth noted that if the lot had room for a parking lot for 4 cars, no variance would be needed, but such a parking lot would have environmental drawbacks of its own. The only realistic way of avoiding the need for a variance, radically scaling back the project, would also have drawbacks. So that's, I was trying to make 2 points.
Yeah,
One is that a 4-car parking lot, which is the goal here, is actually not that, it's not perfect. It's not that, it's not like that's nirvana. And then the second point is that, we're always supposed to ask, how do you avoid a variance? And in this case, the way to avoid a variance is to scale back the project, but that brings new drawbacks.
Mm-hmm.
and we did talk about that,
Yeah.
that as planned, the project was really beneficial, so.
Yes.
So, let me ask you while I'm remembering it. But you were working on the zoning code committee, right? So I think there's the street that, oh, your house is there and it looks straight up that street where
High Street.
High Street. So, that goes towards the ball field going north, right?
Yep.
So I think that new house that's going in almost looks like a two-family house across from Potts Park.
New house, there's one that's being renovated totally. like
Renovate,
The exterior is
renovate,
is being re-sided.
Yeah, it seems like it has two new front doors.
Um,
I was wondering if, I mean, because there is a trend of lots being allowed to have two-family houses, or is that, has there been any change in the zoning to allow a two-family structure? Oh,
There, in some of the R zones, two-family is now, let's take a look at the table here, table of use. I don't remember how it. How it breaks down, but yes, some of the zones allow,
it looked like that house, similarly to
but I
what,
think that house always had two doors.
is that?
Somehow, some of the houses there definitely do. I'm not sure if I'm remembering that one. So here, two-family, so, okay. With a special use permit, you can have two-family in the R zones.
And how long does a special use permit
Um,
last for? It's a year to year, right?
I'm not sure how that works with this type of thing. I can't imagine it's year to year, because you don't want to get building that needs to be reapproved every year. But
But you're not reapproving the building, you're just
the use.
simply the use, yeah.
Um,
Just curious. Just.
I think there probably you'd have to go back and look at the old code to see whether this was as lenient.
Right,
And perhaps I know there was a general effort to encourage greater density of housing. And
while looking at the code this time around.
yes, exactly. In the revision, one of the goals was to, for example, there's more leniency toward accessory units. Accessory dwelling units, ADUs, like, backyard,
Mhm.
little house, a little separate,
Or, like in-law type,
yeah, exactly,
arrangements.
mother-in-law suite.
but not necessarily like two-family.
I don't know if,
Yeah,
you just
look at it.
take, yeah, just compare this.
I will do
So
that.
here, you can do it. You can have two-family
Mhm.
in the R zones now.
Mhm.
So the question is, look at the old one, see if, where that stood. I just don't remember.
Got it. So what was the last set of minutes? Because I don't think I have it.
Well, we have to finish, we have not yet approved formally
Or no.
April 9.
Oh,
And I would make one other change in the bulleted list on page 5. The fourth point about code definitions of driveway and parking space. But this again I think this was something I was trying to say. And what I meant was, or tried to say was, that no vision of parking on the site dictated by the ZBA can be enforced. So there's no point in dictating one. Instead, work with how people will actually behave. So that's what I would like to see there instead, because that was my intended point. No point in the ZBA creating an artificial regime of parking on a lot, when in fact there's no enforcement, there's not gonna be any enforcement, because people don't have to follow it. People don't have to follow what we say.
well, we're not the enforcement.
Well, it's not even a requirement, like we don't have the power to dictate how people park, so, no point. Applying conditions to the parking. Because we
Yeah,
don't have the
all we
power.
do is either grant a variance or not. For use, but say, for instance, we only if we didn't grant a variance for two cars, and they put four cars in there, there'd be an issue.
Right,
As far, I mean, the owner would have an issue in case people park there where they should not be parking there. It's not like it wouldn't be enforceable.
This came up with regard to the question of can we specify that those 2 spaces in back be limited to just the residential use tenants?
Oh, yeah,
Or
that,
just
that,
the
that,
commercial
that, I
tenants?
see, that's a whole
Can-
different
can we-
ball of wax,
Can we
yeah.
have them put up a sign, require they put up a sign, residential tenants only? And
Right,
we just don't have the power to.
well, we agree on that point,
Yeah.
what you're just saying, yes.
Yeah.
So, do you see anything, Mary Ann, on
No,
this?
this looks good.
I'll move that we approve the minutes of April 9th as amended.
I'll second,
All in favor?
aye.
Aye. Okay, unanimous.
Yeah.
April 23rd.
Well, give me your April 23rds.
Okay, I don't have a,
Yeah, I don't know.
Okay, well, now you have it.
Very nice.
it's like going underneath a high fly. I got it, I got it. And you point to the center fielder, you should gotten that.
This one is shorter.
Yeah.
Here's the affidavit, if you want to file that.
Oh, sure.
When you get to it, it's correct, because this is what we said, is that it doesn't increase the footprint of the house. So,
It's probably not correct. I mean, this is presented as something she's saying,
got it.
so I didn't. And it's only the
Oh, I
workshop.
see.
It's only the
Okay,
workshop anyway, so
yeah,
it's probably not, because subsequent to this, we talked,
we,
all of us, about what really is at issue, so.
okay. You're right. Oh, here it is, right underneath it in the discussion.
Yeah,
That's it
yeah,
right there.
it got corrected.
Yeah.
So when in the board discussion part, is it your name that is supposed to be in that?
Yeah, I noted that too. Yes, I guess so. Replace he with E word.
I want to know what happened to the other pages.
It's only 3 pages, there must be more.
You probably weren't in the mood to type that day.
It was only an hour meeting.
Yeah, yeah.
What happened? Boy, we're getting
I
good,
don't know.
we're getting efficient.
There's only one other error here, a minor thing on page 1. It says R1 zoning district, the first bulleted item, so that should be RN zoning district. Otherwise, this looks good to me.
Yeah, looks good to me too.
Good by me,
Okay, I'll move that we accept the minutes
as amended.
of April 23rd as amended.
Moved to, I second it.
Oh,
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you, Eric.
Great.
Thank you, Karen.
Karen, is this your last meeting with us?
Yes.
Oh, what's
no.
What's happening? You,
Well, I'm retiring, but the reality is we're still trying to find the right person to take this job.
yeah, it's a lot of work, right?
So it is a lot of work. It's, when I first came, it was just supposed to be 2 days a week, like 10 to 4. It's a lot more work than that, which I've come to enjoy it. Actually, it's interesting.
You tend to like email me at like 10 o'clock at night. So it's definitely not 10 to 4 in the day.
No, well, because when you're doing you can't really do the minutes while you're here. There's too much going on, you're
distraction.
preparing, too much distraction, so you have to kind of do them at home. But, Jesse, he sent me an email, I don't know, I think it was a week ago Sunday, at like 10:30, and I was, till midnight, we're going back and forth, and I thought, this is not a part-time job. But I do enjoy it, and I think all of you are just great, what you do for this village as volunteers, and so much work. So much thought. put
Well,
into
there's
it.
actually
Very
2 of me.
impressive.
This is the
There's
cheap
2 of
side of
you.
me here, and I'm really overdoing something
Jekyll and
else. I'm
Hyde.
watching a Ranger game with a bunch of friends right now.
Oh, you cloned yourself.
Are they playing tonight?
Yeah, all right now.
Okay.
Yeah, but there's a good point to what you just brought up, Karen, is that you might want to pass on to the mayor that people just don't call at those hours. I mean, it is.
Well, she doesn't.
It's fine. I mean, I could send an email, send something to you at 10 o'clock. If Eric's sleeping,
Yeah.
all the good, he'll
Right.
see it in the
It's
morning.
forcing her to read the message at 10 o'clock. So.
Yeah, okay. Got it.
So, but anyway, I'm not sure we have somebody yet to.
And with Jeff, that's huge.
Jeff
We're losing
leaving,
him.
of course. That's.
Oh, he is.
Yeah.
How many years does he have? Oh, should we end the meeting?
Oh,
Yeah, I
yeah, we
guess-
should adjourn.
Is there any more business?
No.
No.
I don't think
so.
Okay, so I move that we close the meeting.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Thank you, Karen.
Yay.
You're welcome.